following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back talking Mets baseball in the zone, past, present, and future. And I am Ralph Tyko. The hosts of the show are both here, Marty Rose and Robert Cole. How are you? Start with you this time, Robert. How are you?
Doing well, Ralph. Doing well.
Good. We talked a little off air. We're all three doing well, notwithstanding last night's killer loss to the Dodgers.
Right.
Well, just the way it is. Marty, how are you?
I'm good, Ralph. I'm hanging in. You know.
Good. Good.
There's no way that the Mets don't have a chance anymore. Unfortunately, I mean,
no, I can't see them.
No, even if they go 11-2, the Cubs got to go 7-6, and that doesn't even count Milwaukee. So they're not going 11-2 anyway.
Well, one thing I thought of about Milwaukee was that they lost Yelich. He's down.
Yeah,
so, they're still playing well.
Yeah, some teams do that. You know, they lose one of their top players, and then they, round together, and they all pull and play for the guy that's not there.
Yeah, Ron picked it up a notch. Since
yes, he did.
So
yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Okay. Yep, and then the
we're
thing
still alive in mid-September.
Yeah. I think what I've noticed, and I think you've mentioned it too, Marty, playing against the Braves, playing against the Dodgers, they played very, very well, and not quite as good as those two teams.
No, they're not. Nope.
And they're just simply, it comes to form, they're simply not as good as those two teams, especially the Dodgers. Boy, they're tough this year.
Well,
the way it goes.
Yeah, it's the bullpen. We've been talking about it all year, and the bullpen has been better, but it's been better because of basically two guys, and those two guys can't pitch more than 2 days in a row, and Lugo can't even do that sometimes. So it's been very, very tough.
Yeah,
every guy the Dodgers brought in. Yeah. I'm sorry, every guy the Dodgers brought in last night did the job. Every guy.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you going to do?
And the same thing with the Braves series. They played with the Braves, the same thing.
Yeah. I think we were talking off air, Mert, that Lugo might be a candidate to be a starter because he can't come back. He's proven that he just can't come back day after day, and that's what you need in a closer.
Yeah, no question.
I almost tongue-in-cheek suggested a couple of weeks ago to you guys that Matz may be, who I think is probably the best athlete on the team, fast as fuck, and just very athletic on the mound, may be a dominant closer. It's not just having a closer. Nowadays, you want a closer like we expected Diaz to be like. And what with Stroman joining the rotation, I wouldn't think that would be a bad experiment, but he's probably too young to mess with at this point. And he is slowly, left-handers develop very slowly, developing into a much more steady pitcher than he had been in the past.
Yeah. Don't forget, too, that Wheeler's a free agent. So chances are Wheeler's not going to be back. So you don't want to take Matz out of the rotation and Wheeler out of the rotation. And
that's true.
And the hope is that Diaz can get his elbow cleaned out and he can get back to being what he was. If that could happen, then you leave Lugo in the bullpen, to do his 2 innings, every couple of days, and you have a good, strong bullpen. But
You would too, but this year we were dependent on Familia for a lot of that eighth inning stuff. And was that which one of them had elbow chips? Marty? Was
Diaz.
it Familia?
Yeah,
was it
Diaz.
both of them?
No,
Diaz.
Familia had a shoulder problem in the middle of the year, and he was out for a while. But he came back from that, you know. And
he came back and he was doing very well. And then there was a precipitous drop-off in the last month.
I mean, if his sinker doesn't sink, then he's got nothing. So, but I don't know if I think he's healthy. Supposedly, I don't think they'd be putting him out there if he wasn't healthy. But yeah, Diaz definitely should get that elbow looked at over the. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. I mean, just to make sure the guy's ready for next spring. I don't know what they're waiting
question.
For.
He was hurting you by being in the lineup, so to speak, in the bullpen. Then why not do the procedure and give him that much more time to recover? As things go, you never know. Everybody doesn't recover at the same pace. And if you've never had the surgery, and he hasn't, you have no idea how long it's going to take. Might as well get it over with. Are they just afraid to say that looks like throwing up a white flag? Is that about keeping butts in the seats? Or I don't know.
Well, I think that's part of it up to this point. But now, especially if they lose one or two games, you know, on this West Coast thing to Colorado and or Cincinnati, then by all means, you know, it's over. Go ahead and get him in there, get him cleaned up, and, you know, see what happens.
Right. And along the lines of, you know, if it's over, what do? You could bring up people from the minors, and Mert was talking to me off air, said something very depressing. There ain't nobody that we haven't seen to bring up, Marty. Syracuse.
Yeah, well, I was saying at Syracuse, there's really nobody. You know, you've seen all the pitchers.
Correct.
They've been here and they've been back on the Amtrak, as we used to say, back and forth. And I don't think they have many position players there at all. Anybody they have that has had decent numbers this year is lowered down. You know, Binghamton has a couple of guys. St. Lucie has a couple of guys.
And Brooklyn won the championship of the league, of the New York Penn League.
Yeah, well, that was nice. But those guys are, you know, far away.
Yes, but they're a high A team, and these guys, some of them maybe could go to Double A next year, and from Double A they may. Well,
they'll probably go to if they get promoted, they'll go to St. Lucie. You know, St. Lucie is the highest A that they have, the advanced A. So they could go there, and there was a couple of guys I was actually looking up earlier today. There's an outfielder named Wagner Lagrange, a Dominican kid, 24 years old, outfielder, who was promoted, you know, to St. Lucie from, I guess, from Columbia, where he did really well. So he might be, you know, he might be bumped up to Binghamton next year. And a couple of pitchers. There's a left-hander named Kevin Smith. He had 17 starts in St. Lucie, 102 strikeouts in 85 innings, and then he had 6 starts. They moved him up to Binghamton, and he's a left-hander. So, he could be a year away or so.
Yeah.
And they got a few other kids, but too far down you don't know, but at least a couple of names.
Yeah. And one of the many mistakes that Brody made this year was he stocked Syracuse with over-the-hill veterans who he thought were going to be, fill-in guys in case something happened. And all of a sudden, these guys had to come up and play significant roles, and they just weren't up to it anymore. And that happened over and over and over again. And there was nobody really at Syracuse that you would consider a prospect that was ready to come up.
Nobody.
So, yeah. And then the other thing, too, is, everybody was talking about how weak the Mets farm system has been. Well, they actually are one of the few teams that could put a whole starting team of homegrown players out right now off the 25-man roster. And that's pretty incredible. You have Alonso, McNeil, Rosario, Guillorme in the infield. You have Conforto, Nimmo, and Lagares in the outfield. You have Nito as catcher. You have a couple of starting pitchers, a couple of relief pitchers. So, in reality, their farm system has been pretty good until Brody came, and he traded like the top 5 or 6 guys in the system that were ready to come up. And, it wasn't just that Diaz-Cano trade, okay, that took a couple of good prospects away, but then he made the trade for Stroman, and 2 pitchers who probably would have been brought up by the Mets at the end of the year, this year, were traded to Toronto. So, that's what scares me about Brody Van Wagenen.
Yeah, true. Well,
I have a question. What's with Lowry? Is he hurt or they brought him up? He's played 2 games.
He had 2 at bats, not 2 games. 2 at bats.
I mean, 2 at bats. Like, who's he going to replace? Who's he going to replace out there that right now? Who's he going to play?
Yeah. Right. But the other night,
hasn't played all year.
When Rajai Davis actually got the big hit, that was a spot that Lowry should have come in. If they had any confidence in him, that should have been the spot for him to have come in.
Right. And
I was ready to type something to you 2 guys, and Davis got the base hit, so I erased it. But you're putting up Rajai Davis instead of Jed Lowry. I mean, obviously Lowry can't play right now.
No, probably not.
And what disturbed me too, Callaway didn't make a switch, the traditional switch when he took Lugo out for pinch hitter. When Raji batted, he didn't make the switch, so they had a pinch hit later.
No, they did. They did make the switch, Ralph.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah.
There's another
they had
play
to go
this
6.
weekend. There was another play this weekend when he didn't make a switch, and they all run together. I even forgot about Port St. Lucie, who is indeed their high A team, and as great as it is to win a championship, Brooklyn is a short A team, an entrance league team. Shows you a lot about their draft, what they put together in the draft, but it's going to take a while for these guys to make an impact on the big league level.
All right.
But at least it's
3 years maybe.
It's right, but it's a positive that you're building a system. Not that we can stand more rebuilds, gentlemen. We're almost 85, or a little less, but
well, after certain losses like last night, I feel 85, but that's besides the.
Exactly. But that was very, very demoralizing. I just turned it off, and not much to say. Hats off to the Dodgers, like Marty was saying. They did not give up anything out of the bullpen.
No.
And
right.
What are you going to do? I feel a little bit less badly or bad that about the Mets bullpen when I realize half of baseball is struggling in the same way, bullpen-wise. Looking
True.
in the Eastern Division, Washington, I'll tell you, the Braves made a good pickup in Melancon 2 or 3 months ago.
Yep.
And what can I say?
But you don't know with these guys. I mean, Melancon
it's all a
in
big
a couple of
crap.
places.
It is all a big crapshoot from year to year, and sometimes month to month with these guys.
Especially now with the way starters only go 5 or 6 innings. And instead of having 1 or 2 dominant relief guys, you need 4 or 5. To eat up those innings.
Right.
Absolutely.
Does McNeil qualify as a rookie off the subject?
Yes.
Then I will ask you guys, who is the rookie of the year, if not in baseball, on the Mets, Alonso or McNeil?
Well,
good question, right?
It's got to be Alonso, I would think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the numbers, it has to be.
At the pure numbers, yes, but he's, and I will agree, it's got to be Alonso. McNeil is damn valuable. He is incredible versatility, plays well in all positions.
Yeah,
Not
he's played
great
four
some.
positions. Well, yeah.
Right.
Very good.
Yep.
No
But you also have to
ball.
wonder, and I wonder, if he was able to stay in one position, would he have had the slump that he had? Because when he was playing steady in the outfield, mostly left field, his average was quite high. And then when Cano got hurt and he's playing second, he's playing third, he's playing right, he's playing left, and that's when his average seemed to go down. So I don't, was that the reason, or was it just inevitable that he was going to have a slump? I don't know.
Should he have gotten more rest? I mean, this guy plays literally every day.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to take a guy out of the lineup that's producing so well.
Yes.
Yes. We're very hard.
True. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, they've had him batting first, batting second, batting third, batting fourth. And that's hard for guys. I mean, he's done very well doing everything they've asked of him, but he's been moved around so much. You just wonder if he could just have been left alone.
Right. Okay, let's talk a little Jets. We got a Jet game starting tonight. We're taping this on Monday night, the 16th, is it, or the 15th?
16th.
And I want to hear what you guys think about the Jets. Start with you, Robert.
Well, if you go basing it on the 1 week that we've seen so far, they led for 3 quarters. They dominated for 3 quarters, and then they spit the bit and they gave it up. Then, subsequently, it's found out that one of their top receivers is going to be out for the year. Their quarterback has mono and is going to be out at least 3 games, possibly as many as 6 games. And you really have to wonder just what's up with the team. Now, tonight, I think it'll tell us something a little bit. Game just started, matter of fact. I'm watching it right now. But you have to see.
It's going to tell us if they're going to be 0-6 or not. That's what it's going to tell us. Will they be 1-5 or 0-6? That's what it will tell us. I'm sorry.
Well, you're being truthful. It's true.
Well, look at the schedule. They're not beating any of those teams until they get Jacksonville. They might. Both of those teams might be 0-6.
That's true.
I got it. Although pragmatist that you are, Marty. We got to tell Robert about a thing. You said something that was so right on, and it just made me comment on one of the blogs.
About politics?
About politics. And I said, you've been a pragmatist since the second grade. And the voice of reason, taking it all in, nodding your head a little bit, don't get too excited, don't get too up, don't get too down. So it doesn't surprise me that you make that statement and you're so upfront about how the Jets are.
I think Simeon is better than most backup quarterbacks. At least he's played. He's played.
Right.
It's not like he's a kid with no experience out there. But I don't think the team overall, is good enough, especially, with the guys that are out. Hopefully Bell's healthy. I hope he is. Le'Veon. But yeah, I just don't think I have no good feelings about Gaze, the coach. Never liked him. I don't know. I just I just don't feel it. Don't feel it at all. But,
all right.
What I was saying about
on the New York Jets.
What I was saying about the politics was, this should happen and that should happen, but why it won't happen is because of all the money that's being sent to the politicians from
lobbyists,
insurance company. Yeah, all the. I was going to say since Ulysses S. Grant smoked a cigar in the lobby, that's what's been going on in politics.
Yes, that's how it all got started. For those of you as unfamiliar with history as I am, a lobbyist, and just bring in the money, just in barrel loads, just give it to them, put it in offshore accounts, set their families up for a lifetime. It's not enough to serve in Congress. You could serve one time, never get reelected. You have a $200,000 a year pension for life, and free insurance or company insurance, that kind of thing. Now, they were thinking when they put that in, that should be enough to really say that you don't have to go out and grease your pockets to serve the country. You ought to be able to live on that,
but they're not even asking for the money. They're not asking for it. They're getting sent the money to make sure guys vote a certain way. That's it. A guy like Rubio can go stand outside and say, "Oh man, all those kids were killed. It's terrible." Meanwhile, he's collecting $3 million from the NRA. Are you kidding me? What is that? It's ridiculous. That's what's going on every day.
The blood of all these people that have been killed does not stain these people. They shouldn't be able to get it off their hands for a lifetime. Really? Don't take guns. Don't take rifles from people. But do take these automatic weapons that are war, AK-47 with magazines, now that are bumped up to the point 200 shots in a minute, this type of thing. These are just killing our people.
That's sad.
It changes the mindset of America.
Ralph, they're too busy now taking care of the vaping industry because 4 kids got sick on vaping. So that's much more
like I said,
right
the vaping industry doesn't have the millions of dollars to pay guys off to keep them off their back.
Right. So
no, but
that's
the
who they're
tobacco
going after.
industry did and does, and they're still paying Congress people.
Sure.
Well, the tobacco people are also making money from the stop smoking products.
It's crazy. The
We could
system
go on
is
forever
changing, and when I said that, Marty responded quite pragmatically, coincidentally, with who's going to change it? The people that make the laws are the ones that are benefiting from it.
Exactly.
And with that in mind, can you? May not happen in our lifetime, but can you see where there's going to be a revolution? The people are going to say, "That's all as I could stand. I can't stand no more," and revolt against this crap. I mean, if people are dying who need insulin because they can't afford to buy insulin,
$700
they don't
a month.
take right. And lobbyists are given from these companies are giving money to from the drug companies are giving Congress people money so that they endorse these people dying. That's all it is. Good. You take half your medication and you end up dying early. Because that's not right. I mean, it's just beyond not right. And
absolutely.
If you go to the hospital and you don't have the luck of having veterans benefits like Marty and I have, I don't know what your situation medically is, you can be forced to declare bankruptcy because you can't pay the co-insurance payments even though you're insured. Is that crazy or what?
It's ridiculous. Honest to God.
It's ridiculous.
Really?
The world we live in. It makes being a Met fan pall in comparison to what's going on.
True.
I mean, we feel pain, but the country is feeling pain, where the richest people in the world, like the 5 richest people, make more money than half the country put together.
Yes.
Than the lower half of the country put together.
Yeah.
Now, can't find a way of taxing these people appropriately so we could get benefits like feeding the hungry, educating the curious, little things like that, cleaning up the environment, the ecology. Where do you stand? How could one, as a Republican, vote against the clean air bill? I mean, I don't know. They're not doing things in our best interest. It's gone beyond.
You're getting oil company contributions. That's all it is.
The question was rhetorical, of course. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever question you can come up with, there's an answer just like that to why it's not being done. Whatever.
And you have a president that stands up there, windmills give you cancer, that kind of shit. Alternative energy is bad. Are you crazy? And they're not scientifically minded.
And the last hurricane was going to go to Alabama.
Pardon me?
And the last hurricane was going to go through Alabama.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And he's drawing the little thing on there, and then he denies doing it and doesn't know. Amendment 25. I will lead you with that. I don't know how come to that, but whenever it is that we do, we'll get Pence, and I don't know how much better that is. So
not much.
That's my cheer up for tonight.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Postmortem on the Mets. Postmortem on the Mets season next week.
And our political system. Yes. Postmortem on. Hopefully, we could be talking about another potential miracle. It's been 3 times that we've written them off this season. Seriously written them off. To the point where one or two times
I know, but
we didn't even want to have a show. It made us sick.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right.
But this time they're actually running out of time. Running out of
I
games.
know. I know.
That's what makes it more unlikely.
My hope right now is that we're still in it till there's 4 games left. And then
that would be nice. That would be nice.
And then at the 4 games, okay, we ran out of time, but keep us in it till.
And on some level, we should all 3 of us should be counting our blessings that it's September 16th, and we're even mathematically involved.
Right. That we would have taken that in April. I think.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
After that first.
The old meaningful games in September. Yes, that's
Yep. Man, what was it, 6-7 weeks ago that Marty and I were getting ready to watch reruns of Leave It to Beaver instead of the Mets?
Well, reminds me of something. And that's I've been doing this thing called This Date in Mets History for a while now. And on this date in Mets history, Hojo is the batting coach of David Wright when he gets his 30-30 club membership on this date in Met history. And at that time, Hojo's the batting coach of David Wright. It was only the 10th time in history that a guy did a 30-30 trip. And the other 2 were 2 of the 10 were Hojo and Darryl Strawberry of the Mets. I thought that was cool as hell, and it also made me cry a little bit because how talented David Wright was before he got hurt. Whoa.
Yeah. Yep. Damn shame. Really is.
Damn shame. And we forget, too, remember we were covering Reyes last year as his career is winding down, and he wasn't all of this and he wasn't all of that. He was a good mentor to Rosario, but that notwithstanding, that guy had 50 stolen bases 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that with those 2 guys at short and third on that left part of the infield, we didn't win more. That it's tragic, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's my look back, and the politics notwithstanding, this has been a fun show, as fun as it can get. See you next week, guys. Stay healthy. Thank you for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Marty Rose, Robert Cole, the 2 best Met podcasters on the www.some. Adios, guys.
Good night.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.